Alrighty, well g'day there. My name is Adam Ford, editor at Top Oz Tours and Travel Ideas. Thank you for dropping by to watch this video. Now, there's absolutely no doubt that the rising cost of living and interest rates is impacting on people's ability to plan and afford a holiday. Let's face it, travel is a discretionary expense. It's often one of the first things to go when things get tough. Well, in this series, we're bringing you tips for ways to save money on travel to some of the country's top destinations. And we're going to kick things off with amazing Adelaide. The South Australian capital is absolutely one of my favourite cities to travel to in Oz. Fabulous food and wine. You've got an incredible historical and cultural scene to explore. And there are ways to save money on travel to Adelaide. So we're going to cover that in this video, and stick around because we have a special offer for you on Adelaide tours, activities and attractions that will save you big bickies. That's coming up. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Here are 10 ways to save money on travel to Adelaide. Alrighty, tip number one. Now, just by choosing to travel to Adelaide, you are actually saving money. And that is because Adelaide is one of the cheapest capital cities to live in Australia. We jumped on finder.com.au, which does a handy comparison of the cost of living. And as you can see, Adelaide is significantly cheaper to live in than Sydney. It's almost 20% cheaper than Melbourne and cheaper than Perth and Brisbane. This comparison takes into account things like transport costs, the cost of food, things that do impact on the cost of your travel. So just by traveling to Adelaide, you are actually saving money. Good one. Alrighty, next up, let's have a look at your accommodation. It's a major expense for just about everybody, unless you have friends in Adelaide and you're happy to couch surf. That's going to be the cheapest way to do it. Pay particular attention on when you visit Adelaide. According to Trivago, the cheapest months to visit are July and August. The most expensive are February and March, and that is because there are no less than 3 arts festivals happening concurrently in the city. So if you want to save on your accommodation, avoid February and March if you can. I would definitely have a look at YHA Australia. I'm not being paid to say this. I absolutely love these guys because not only do they offer hostel accommodation, which is the cheapest option, and if you're happy to share your room and all that sort of stuff, then great, but they also offer en-suite accommodation in private rooms. Not every YHA Australia property does this, but in Adelaide they do, and they are superbly located right in the heart of the city. Some of the other great things about staying at the YHA is that you get to use the shared kitchen. So if you want to self-cater, that's another great way of saving money. They offer free Wi-Fi throughout the property, and they also offer discounted parking. Now, when you stay with the YHA for the first time, you will automatically become a member. Get hold of those membership details, keep them on file. Head to yha.com.au when you plan future travel, because you can save around 10% on future bookings. All right, now getting around Adelaide could not be easier or cheaper, given that trams in the CBD are free of charge. Also, be across the number 99 bus route, which does a loop of the city centre that links most of the key attractions, and it is free to ride as well. There is also an extension of that service that runs through North Adelaide. That's the number 98. It runs all week long and does the city loop, but also does a lap around North Adelaide. Now keep in mind that both these buses are super popular with locals as well as visitors. So if you don't want to make like a sardine, travel outside of peak periods. All right, moving on. Now, amazing Hahndorf up in the Adelaide Hills is one of the top tourist destinations in South Australia, full of German heritage. It's a really fun way to spend a morning or an afternoon just exploring the main street, dropping into some of the traditional stores. There's a great pub up there, some amazing galleries. I would certainly also recommend checking out some of the wineries in the Adelaide Hills. If you don't have a car, it's all a little bit difficult, but I do have a relatively cheap way for you to get to Hahndorf and back. And again, that is on the bus. Look for the route number 864. It departs from Curry Street and will take you up to Hahndorf. I think the trip from memory takes 40 to 50 minutes. It will set you back the princely sum of $4. Now compare that to a taxi, which will cost you at least $70 each way, and even an Uber, which will cost you at least $50 each way. So that is quite a money saver right there. Take the bus. Now, Adelaide is a food and wine destination, so pretty much wherever you eat is going to be amazing. And my top tip for saving money on dining in Adelaide is to check out the pubs across the city centre. They always have great deals on evening meals. Now, one of the examples that springs to mind is the Union Hotel on Weymouth Street, just a short walk from the YHA. On my last trip, they were doing a pizza night. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night for around the $10 mark. It was absolutely phenomenal. I know at the moment they're doing a palmy and pint night on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's just one example though. Wander around town, as you see a pub, stick your head in and zero in on those weeknight dining specials. It will save you big dollars on your food bill. Now, another great way to save money on your food bill in Adelaide is to head along to the amazing Central Market. No visit to the South Australian capital would be complete without spending a couple of hours exploring what is one of the largest undercover markets in the Southern Hemisphere. You've got hundreds of vendors there selling everything from fresh fruit and vegetables to small goods, cheese, olives, wine. There's some street food vendors there as well and some great cafes. Definitely worth checking out if you are self-catering. Head over to the market an hour or two before closing time during the week. A lot of the time you'll get markdown specials which you can take advantage of. And also on Saturdays. The market is not open on Sundays and Mondays, so a lot of the stock gets cleared out on a Saturday afternoon. It's another really easy way to save on your food bill, particularly if you are self-catering. And why wouldn't you, given that you have that full kitchen at the YHA? All right, next let's talk very briefly about free Wi-Fi. Now, a lot of Aussie travelers obviously have their own data, but if you don't, and you need free Wi-Fi, it is widely available across the South Australian capital. Just look for the Adelaide Free Wi-Fi Network. It's a joint initiative of the City of Adelaide, the South Australian Government and Internode. You can log on at various points across the CBD. Also on the subject of free Wi-Fi, super fast free Wi-Fi I might add, head over to the State Library of South Australia on North Terrace. Lots of great things to see and do at the State Library, including the incredible Mortlock building. What a place to sit and surf the net. It is one of the finest examples of a 19th century reading room in the world. Definitely worth checking out, the State Library of South Australia. Culture vultures and history buffs are in for a fine time in Adelaide. There is a huge amount to see and do, including the State Library that I just mentioned, also the Art Gallery of South Australia. You've got the South Australian Museum right next door to the gallery, the Museum of Discovery, also known as MOD, the Migration Museum. And the great thing about all these facilities is that entry to their permanent collections is free of charge. You can't get any better than that. Also head over to Adelaide Oval. Not something a lot of people are aware of, but there's a museum there called the Bradman Collection. It again is free of charge to see. You just roll up to the concierge at the Riverbank stand, say that you want to visit the museum, they'll let you in and away you go. It's an absolutely incredible collection of memorabilia from the Don and well worth seeing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Adelaide is a very walkable city. It's almost completely flat. And a walking tour is a great way to get to know the city's nooks and crannies. I'm going to send you over to talk to Katina at Flamboyance Tours. Now, she runs a Welcome to Adelaide tour, which will set you back, I think from memory, $30. It will pay for itself in terms of the tips that you will get from Katina on places to eat, things to do, lots of things that we obviously haven't covered or haven't got the time to cover in this video. So that is $30 well spent. If things are really tight, I would suggest heading to the City of Adelaide website. They have some downloadable self-guided walking tours on offer there, trails dedicated to history, art and culture, and also a great self-guided walk around the market, absolutely free of charge. And finally, it makes absolutely no sense to visit Adelaide without doing a wine tour. There are wine regions located in almost every direction, including the world famous Barossa. You've got McLaren Vale, the Adelaide Hills, further afield the Clare Valley. I would highly recommend Taste the Barossa. Their all-inclusive wine trip costs, I think, $159 per person. Last time I looked, that includes transport, lunch, tastings, the whole bit. If that's a little bit too expensive, have a look at Trail Hoppers. Now they do a hop-on, hop-off bus service to the Barossa, McLaren Vale and the Adelaide Hills. And you can pretty much get away with a day amongst the vines with transport, a couple of tastings and say a cafe lunch for around the $100 mark per person. All right, well, there you have it. 10 amazing ways to save money on travel to Adelaide. I hope you found that useful. There is a corresponding story on our website. If you want more information on any of those points, I will put a link on the screen right now. I also mentioned a special offer. If you would like 10% off any of the tours and experiences available in Adelaide on our website, it is all yours. Just send us an email to info@topoztours.com.au and quote this code word, and 10% off is all yours. Alrighty, till next time, see you then.